What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is I Run Shib, or Shib for short. I appreciate you dropping by here today. The goal of the video today is to discuss what classes are going to be coming out in the West that won't actually be out on initial release. I'm going to dive into each class slightly, try to show you some gameplay, and then also discuss where I think they're going to come in which order. Mostly just because I think that they're going to want to try to fill out those classes in terms of amount of subclasses under each class. I'll kind of describe what I mean as we get through the video, but I appreciate you being here today, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's first dive into who I believe to be the first class, and that is the Arcana. So, the Arcana is essentially Gambit. I don't know if you know Marvel Comics. Card magic, right? Throwing cards, which I'd say more short, medium range is this class. This class is strange because very high CC, very mobile, very quick, but very squishy and very close range. So, in general, that just requires a bit of timing and skill, right? So that's the kind of thing you need to have as an Arcana main. Get in, do a lot of damage, stun them, and get out, right? Risky playstyle, pretty squishy, shorter ranges, like I said. There's a bit of RNG with the class where they have a passive where they can choose from their cards in their deck. It could be attack speed, attack power, resistances, stuff like that. That will happen as you play on this class. I've gotten this class to 50 before on one of my accounts, but I never really mainlined this class to the point where I felt comfortable saying it was, I was a master at this class or anything like that. But the Arcana is a very interesting, fun class to play, and I'm excited for people that are Arcana mains to get their hands on it. I think it could potentially be the first one released. So the next class that I think could be released in the West would be the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer is your typical elemental mage. This class was announced literally last month in a dev interview, like this big Lost Ark convention where the devs were talking about future of the game, etc. This class is your typical elemental mage. I mean, look at these abilities. Absolutely wild. Very interesting, very cool class. In the West, in all of our RPGs, we always have that standard elemental mage. This game has never had that. And this class just looks so interesting to me. So it looks like a lot of CC ability, AoE, very flashy moves, very high, hard-hitting, slow, timing moves. Obviously, I don't know much about the class myself, but I'd go ahead and say that that is going to be a very popular class in the West. And it is releasing in a couple months in Korea, so there is a slight chance that it could potentially be released in the West on release. And the only reason I say that is because the order of these classes have not been consistent across different areas. So, for example, we already have the Gunslinger, which is the female version of the Deadeye, whereas some areas don't have that yet, right? So, there is a chance this could be released in the West, and I can see this as being a very desired class in the West, so maybe Amazon and Smilegate will partner up to say, hey, let's get this over to the West early. I personally would love that. I might not main it, but I hope that half my guild does, because this class looks awesome. The third, or maybe this could, these first three could be jumbled up in any order, class that I think could be released in the West would be the Reaper. I'm not sure what they'll call it in the Western release, but the Reaper is essentially your cloak and dagger assassin. Those very consistent, if you play an assassin, this is what's going to feel at home. You're going to be going invisible, you're going to be hitting from behind, you're going to be dashing through, leaving smoke clouds, This is the kind of typical class I would see as being an assassin mains class. Obviously, you'll feel pretty much right at home with the Demonic and Blade, but this just seems to me like the standard assassin class that was kind of missing from the game beforehand. The assassin class has only had 2 subclasses in the West, so this, like I said, could be the next release just to kind of even out the total subclasses within all classes. And I know buddies of mine really are looking forward to this class. Like, you can see some of the invisibility here. I think this class is very interesting. I look very much forward to seeing it in the West, and I think it has the potential to be one of the first couple releases post-launch. So some of the classes I believe will be released later on in the game, and granted guys, I could be completely wrong about this because it is totally driven by Amazon and Smilegate. This is, like I said, just my thought and my opinion as to why they release this way, is the Destroyer. I mean, this class, even in my comments alone in the last video, has been asked for by so many people that it could go ahead and jump in line and just shoot right to the first one released. It is under the Warrior class. The subclass is called Destroyer, like I said. Wields a giant hammer. This guy is very powerful, a lot of self-shields. I actually created one of these, got him up to 50, played him in PvP. He's incredible in PvP and PvE, hits like a forking truck. The Destroyer has an inherent ability that he creates this electric field around him. It slows other people. It allows you to only use a single auto attack with increasing attack speed over time. It's mayhem, dude. It's an absolute hammer and nail. Beat that thing into the ground a million times. It's so annoying to deal with in PvP, and in PvE, it's an awesome AoE attack and boss fighter. This class slaps. Absolutely slaps. So the next class I want to dive into, in the 5th class that I think could potentially be released, is the Lance Master. The Lance Master is a very agile class, and as you could guess, wields a lance. Has 2 different stances. Very combo fluid. Very similar to all the fighter classes, right? So strong in PvP and PvE. Very fast and fluid, divey, maintaining control of CC, keeping people around them and making sure they're disabled at all times. Very cool class to watch people play. If you excel and you're very proficient with this class, it's beautiful. It's freaking artwork. So I think this class could be released relatively soon. It's a class I actually have never played before, and I personally would like to play this class at some point. I hope it gets released relatively soon in the West, but I can't say for certain that it will. I know there's a lot more requested classes just based on what I've been seeing. I'm not to say that there aren't a lot of people who don't want the Lance Master. But I personally could see, you know, a mage total class being filled out first, or getting, you know, the other assassin in before you get a 4th fighter. But like I said, anything could happen, and I'm not in control. The next subclass I think will be dropped is the Scouter. The Scouter is one of the most insane classes I've ever seen in a video game. And I'll explain why. Uses a submachine gun, which you rarely find in a class. Has a drone pet that follows him, very in tune with technology. Uses laser beams and can transform like Iron Man with his inherent ability. He can literally turn into Iron Man and wields laser arms and beams and is unbelievably strong. This class, in my opinion, is a little OP. As you can see here, he's turning into the Iron Man as his inherent ability. Look at some of these laser moves. Super flashy. Super cool class. Very strong in PvE and PvP. Like I said, I believe it to be a little OP. It's been a while since I've mainlined this game because I've been waiting for the Western release, so things I'm just sure have been balanced. This game does a very good job with balancing patches, but I know it's still a super strong class just based on what I've been seeing in the Discords and watching people play. I still play a little bit of PvP, and this class absolutely turns up 24/7. You're literally Tony Stark. What else can I say? Very cool, very interesting. People will love this class. I hope it gets released relatively soon, but I can't speak for it. So the last class that could be dropped in the West, which I truthfully and genuinely hope does not get dropped early on, is the Striker. The Striker is exactly what the Gunslinger is to the Deadeye. It's just a male version of the Battlemaster. The Battlemaster is that quick, you know, Bruce Lee focused fighting class that has very fast movement speed and abilities and is focused on getting in, hitting quick, controlling where you are, getting out and diving back in a millisecond later before you can even blink. Like I said, the reason I don't want this class in the game is because the Battlemaster already exists. I personally, like I said in my previous video, didn't really like that the Gunslinger was released as its own standard class next to the Deadeye when they could have dropped someone like the Destroyer or Lance Master. I don't know. I was trying to think. I personally want the Scouter, but I think the Destroyer would be more requested. I just, you know, I hope it's released relatively later. I like the idea of undoing gender locking and making it so you can play either a male or a female in each class. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can customize your characters with skins in the game, make them look as cool as you want. I mean, there is different passives between these characters, similar to the Gunslinger and Deadeye, like I talked about in the other video, but I just wanted to make a point that I personally don't hope they come in. So there you have it, everybody. Those are the classes that are going to be released in the West of Lost Ark post-initial release. My guess as the order of them could be vastly off. I just made an assumption based on them trying to fill out those classes with subclasses. You know, classes are requested, some are more desired than others, so it's tough to say where they could land. I didn't like their decision with the Gunslinger Deadeye, but, you know, anything could happen. The last thing I want to touch on quickly is the region locking problem. So, the only reason I bring it up is because years ago, I was looking for more information on the game, and I stumbled across FreeSywo, which is a content creator. In his country, Estonia, is not able to play. And I think that guy has brought so many people to this RPG. I just wanted to give him a shout out and just mostly say, free my man FreeSywo. We got to get him on this game, and hopefully that helps unlock the rest of these regions, and so everyone's able to play it. This game is gorgeous, and I cannot wait for more people to jump in. I am going to mainline this game, so if you like the content, if you want to see more, please show me a thumbs up, put comments down below. Positive vibes, guys. I just want everyone to enjoy this game and just hang out together. It should be a lot of fun, so appreciate it, guys. Please sub to my stuff, follow my Twitch, you know, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. I'm trying to be more active on socials. I love you guys.